Oh, do story ideas on the fly where we choose a random idea out of a hat and try to develop it into something that could be turned into a story. All right. An assassin seeks to help ascend his cult leader to godhood.
Oh, this sounds like it could get dark.
Yeah, with the day I've had, I might like writing this one. That's gonna be
Fun though.
okay. Assassin seeks to help it ascend
Okay,
his
so
cult leader to
obviously this
godhood.
isn't just an assassin group. Obviously it's some kind of cult.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
some kind of
Yeah, I've
cult.
written
But
cults
he's
before.
he's the one who's killing people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
He is an assassin
assassin
who's
for a
working
cult.
with a cult.
Or for a
Yes.
cult.
Yeah.
So
probably
this is
four.
we've got our villain.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
we got a villain, no problem.
Starting with the villain today.
The villain is the leader of this cult.
Yep.
Yes.
Now the question
So
is,
is this a
what's the
redemption arc?
process for growing to godhood?
That is a good question. What
Probably something involving a lot of dark magic, human sacrifice, and other.
Not
or
necessarily.
we could go sci-fi and a lot of, technology and implants, and depending on how we want to do
No.
this.
You could go
There
that way.
are, well, depends on exactly, the rules change for individual universes, but in some universes, you can obtain pseudo deification by literally just having, like, worshippers. So it could be something like that, where he needs to have
Convert
more,
everyone to worship him.
or convert, like, a huge portion of the world's population.
Converting our
If
people.
we want to go video game kind of setting, or the anime level up thing, then you just have to get up enough levels till you reach
Literally.
God.
No,
But
if you're going with JRPG methods, then you can't become a god. You fight a god as the final boss.
Okay.
Then you become more powerful than him, but you're still technically not a god.
I was
Okay.
joking.
So how do we want?
Yeah, but in
How
JRPGs
does,
they fight gods all the time.
Okay.
So how does the cult leader, how is he supposed to ascend to godhood?
Okay, before we really know that, what we going sci-fi? Or we going
Fantasy.
Okay, we're
This
going
sounds very
fantasy.
fantasy.
This sounds
You
fantasy.
could go either way. What
Could go
is?
I like godhood
fantasy
being an
or kind of an
actual
odd-
thing, because in sci-fi, godhood is less some. Sci-fi tends to have less interaction between gods and men, and more super powerful people and less powerful people.
Also, in sci-fi, the power of the individual usually doesn't matter. What matters is your political influence, because
Yeah.
I don't care how powerful you are, a nuke is more powerful.
So
Mhm.
if you're trying to get to godhood, it's almost certainly a fantasy. It could be sci-fi, but it's usually fantasy.
Yeah, usually fantasy.
Okay, so are we doing a kind of convert or die, crusade type
You
thing?
could do that.
What is this cult? Because there are different kinds of cults.
And what's he trying to become the god of?
Right. I mean, I've written a lot of different cults before where, whether it's the type where they're wearing loincloths and doing human sacrifice, or whether they're trying to reawaken the dark magic, or whether, there's different ways
Fair
you
enough.
can go with a cult. So what kind of cults
Cult.
are
It could
we
be a
looking at?
political cult.
Not if we're going fantasy. So
No, you
I
have
mean,
political cults in fantasy
you
all the
still have
time. In
one.
fact, I've
Yes.
seen them more often in fantasy than in anything else.
But when it
Uh-huh.
comes to, at least what does this guy want to become the god of? You have two major routes you can go with it, which are either, actually never mind, three. You can either have it so that he's trying to supplant a god who already exists, in which case a lot of that would be having to try to figure out how to steal that god's power. It could be that gods don't actually have a specific domain, they just tend to have a certain tool set.
Yeah, but
Or
most gods
you can go
mo-
with
most
when
mythologies
he
have gods-
becomes a god, he will introduce a new concept into the universe.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Or it could be he has to choose a concept to become a god of. That's how a lot of mythologies do it. And you can't have multiple gods of the same concept. I mean, that happened all the
Oh,
time
yeah,
in
good
mythology.
A lot.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing you could do
This
is
5.
this cult leader feels that he was wronged by the god of, I mean, it could be the god of love for it, but he was wronged in the past by one of the gods and became so angry that he decided he was going to amass a following, gain a cult, and become and
Take over.
take over that specific god's throne.
Okay, so he's trying
But
to
then it's a
supplant a
revenge.
god.
Yeah, then it's a revenge. A revenge
Okay.
goal. It's personal.
Well, we could go a lot of different ways.
You
with
could
this.
go a lot of
So
different
let's
ways.
just go with this one because
That's a good way to go.
if
Yes.
we don't pick
Mhm.
something and go, we'll just go all over.
We'll just, yeah.
So let's say that he
I
is.
think it would be cool.
Okay, so
So he's
what
trying to
power set
supplant
does he
a
have?
god.
Does he have black magic? Does he have? What does this cult do?
Mhm.
Make him a powerful mage. What god is he trying to supplant to? That's an important question.
Who would have wronged
god of
him in
love.
the past? You could be the god of love, although
That would
That'd be
actually
a
get
little
darker than
odd.
most other. No, that would
yeah,
get
that'd
really
be
dark
super dark.
for one simple reason.
Mm-hmm.
If he tries to supplant the god of a goddess of love or something, then during the process, he's almost certainly going to become a corrupted version of that. And he might become a dark god of lust or something. And in that case, the story will probably end up having a lot of rape and stuff. And I don't want to write that.
Okay, that's fair.
Enough.
Okay, so
So
in
let's
that
not
case,
do love.
Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go with something different. Yes. All right.
You could
Justice?
do the god of death, the god of justice.
I like
Ooh,
justice.
I like the God of justice,
I like justice.
or the God of mercy. If we want to go the other route with him,
When he thought he was supposed to be given mercy and the god of mercy didn't give it to him, granted
Right.
because he probably didn't deserve it, but you know.
so do you like justice or mercy?
I kind of feel like justice feels a little more like this guy I specifically wronged me. Mercy, that would be more of a he didn't help me. Where
Okay,
justice
so
was
let's
more
go
like
with
I
God
like
of
hurt.
justice.
justice,
Be,
especially
yeah.
because it's just as easy. He feels like, no, I didn't deserve that punishment that the God of Justice gave me. He's supposed to be justice, not randomly
Right.
doling out punishments for
And
minor crimes
as he
like murder.
starts gaining more power, he starts feeling himself the arbitrator of justice and the
Mhm.
arbitrator of justice,
And of course,
then,
all his followers are totally justified in their actions.
right. And
Mhm.
so they start meeting out what they see as justice.
Nice.
Okay, so
So that could make your assassin actually easier to redeem because if he's depending on how he came into the cult, he could very well just believe he's meting out justice. You know, these people
One
were
thing I
wronged,
actually
and I
think
want
sounds
to.
like it might be fun is what if we said it so that the leader of this cult was one of those races that lives for basically forever, like an elf or something. And so this assassin actually grew up in this cult and he believes, yes,
Mhm.
this guy is the true god of justice. He should be the god of justice because that's what he was raised to think the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he starts going out and completing missions for him, but then he starts learning more about how they're affecting the world around them, and he starts realizing, oh shoot, am I the baddie?
Are we
yes.
the bodies?
One thing to be careful of in writing that, if you want to make this assassin your main, character, your main hero, is that then you start off with your main character being totally unlikable. He's out killing. He's out murdering.
You can do it. It would be difficult,
Right.
more difficult.
So
but
one thing I tend to do if I'm writing where one of my main characters is really unlikable at the start is I put somebody that is very likable with him.
Mhm.
So who could you put with him that is very likable?
A fairy.
Possibly.
On the latest mission he went on, he accidentally bound himself to a fairy, and now this fairy's just following him around everywhere, going, "Well, actually considered what you're doing here, bud."
I
Come
probably
on,
would go with
bud.
fairy. It all depends on exactly what's like the straw that breaks the camel's back that makes him realize that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be an interesting inciting incident though, where you've got different races and in one of these situations he's going out and he can go through, he's going out to
He does the mission as
assassinate
he's
somebody,
told.
he's doing something, but in the process of doing this actually ends up saving someone. It doesn't have to be a fairy, but you can have lots of races
Yeah.
in here, and this
Cat girl.
particular like anime, they all love to have half animal people.
Mhm.
So when we get in, I'm thinking it could be whatever, the cute little bunny ears or something. But
Mm-hmm.
but she's going, you saved my life. I now, my race, my people's tradition is I now have to stay with you till I pay you back, until I raise yours.
And
Save
it's
yours.
this like
or
cute bunny
something.
girl who's never heard anything in her life, and so he's just kind of like, that won't be necessary. And she's like, no. I'm bound to serve you.
Yeah, and I'm bound to help you until we. And so
I
then
am bound
now-
to you until I save your
you
life.
can
Then
make her. You
fetch
don't
my
need
slippers, I
You don't
guess.
need to make a stupid puppy dog
No.
like I'm gonna serve you. We can make her someone who's going, yeah, I'm going, intelligent, capable, smart. I'm going to serve you, and then she goes in to help serve him. And we don't have to have this be done in any,
No, nothing
crude
graphic.
ways, right?
Or...
No
Mhm.
crude ways. We're not talking serve in that way. We are just talking. I'm going to help you. I'm going to try to pay you back for what you saving my life. And so so she goes in, and then you make her a very, very likable character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A
From the
very
get-go?
likable character. So yes, he's the main hero of the story, but he's going to be. But he starts off as a villain. But it's a redemption story, which is very good.
Mhm.
And then she is a catalyst, and she is someone that you like
From the
start. And so you're not sitting there greeting, going, because I've had this happen so many times where you start a book or you start a movie or
That's
you
one
start,
of the
you're like,
difficulties of
this
a
is
redemption
such,
arc is you don't want to start a story with a character that's
or even when it's not even a redemption arc, it's just something where they're like, I want to give my character some room to grow or whatever, or go hit some different angles, and you're like, okay, I mean, they're unusual. I haven't seen these characters, or they're whatever, but I don't like a single one of them. I don't care if the heroes
Or a lot
succeeds.
of the
I don't
times-
like any of them.
a lot of the times authors in their attempt to make their characters flawed go too far and make them just
Jerks.
enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah, just jerks. And it's like,
But yes, we could do this. I
you
think
could
you
get
do
me
this,
on my
though.
rant of when you're riding strong women, don't try to make them jerks to make them strong.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back,
So
No, in
stop
some
the
ways, this
rant
girl
before it
could
happens.
actually be quite strong because she will probably figure out pretty quickly that he's a bad guy, but she's also agreed to follow him and take care of him. So I think she's going to find some ways to help him understand that he's wrong without actually saying, dude, you're an idiot.
Also, one thing we can do is a lot of the people he'd be going out and assassinating are criminals and people, because this is a cult of justice.
False justice, yes.
It's more vengeance.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, but a lot of the people that he does deem criminals are
criminals.
right. So it's not like it's not like this assassin is always just, it's just going out killing random,
Women and
innocent
children
people.
and
No, in fact, we could
puppies.
have one of the inciting incident be he goes out, he's assigned to kill someone, goes, no, this person's a decent person and innocent. I can't.
Well, I think
kill him.
you're inciting incident. You have him go off and you have him kill someone that does deserve that it is just to do.
Well,
and
I think
once
at the
you
beginning
Your
he is.
attention grabber, but sure.
Yeah, but
I
then,
think he starts though pretty loyal to the cult and the leader.
Yeah.
And then though when he starts getting to someone that's not so much, oh, we want you to infiltrate to take out the king, somebody high in the king's council or something. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I know him. And she starts seeing, and he kind of changes his mind, and she goes and saves that one from him. So yeah, he intends to actually go through with it, but she saves that person, and he's going, then he's kind of mad. Why did you do this? Well, let me tell you about,
Yeah.
So here we could get into some interesting situations.
This could be a very sweet story.
It could be. I kind of like redemption stories. I really do. They're fun to write.
Now, what is the villain's end goal? Because he has to do something to become a god of.
Okay.
He's not going to become a god of justice because he's not just himself. He'd become a god of vengeance.
Okay, but in his path to
becoming a god of vengeance,
he would think he is becoming the god of justice.
Yes,
Yes,
but what we're
absolutely.
asking is what would be the process.
So I
What's the
think
process?
I think the process
Does it
should
require-
involve that concept of vengeance in it
yes.
somewhere. I also think I like the idea of
what
having.
makes him strong enough to take on a god?
Well, I think what makes him strong enough to take on a god is becoming a god. So I think it's I think there's some kind of
I
process.
think it goes. I would picture it going the other way, that he's gaining power and strength. Like maybe, hopefully this isn't too morbid, but as his cult members are, slaying these people in the name of justice, they bring back, a vial of blood, or they bring back it, or they do something to give him magic. So with every person that his cult members kill
Not
in the name of
necessarily-
justice.
It doesn't. They don't necessarily have to bring something back.
No,
It
but they
could
have
be
to
a
cast some
metaphysical
kind
thing
of spell
where
or some
no,
kind
it
of.
could be a metaphysical thing where instead of but it's not random killings.
No, but it is
I think
magical.
a lot some of the
Mm-hmm.
people he sends his cult members to kill, he doesn't actually have a reason, like an official here's a crime they committed, go kill them type thing like he does with most people. Instead, he makes up one, and these members are high clerics basically of other gods, and so he uses that to basically he has to sabotage enough other gods, and basically when that happens, the
Siphon
gods
their magic.
leak some divine
Okay,
magic
so he's
type
siphoning
thing.
the magic
So-
of other.
Right, so he's siphoning the magic.
So I
Sounds fun.
think the killing is helping make him stronger, because I think he's going to want to rise to the level of power that he can face this god of justice.
I
And
think
then-
he's gotten far enough to the point where he's connected himself to his cult. So what needs to do is the cult needs to cement his concept of justice, which is revenge,
when-
enough that he can ascend to godhood. So I think the killings are what's necessary for him to do it.
And
we
maybe
don't-
the followers as well, which is why when the girl says, "I'm going to follow you," he doesn't just say, "Nope, goodbye." He's like, "Well, there's one more follower for our, grand."
Well, and yes, and we can
For our Lord
actually
and Savior Zordon.
we can do all of these. There's not
Mhm.
these things are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
Sword.
you
can
probably
have-
need all of
You
them.
can have
Sword
him
on.
siphoning the
Really?
wizard's magic. You can have him, siphoning off the blood of victims. You can have him siphoning off his, siphoning
Of his
off
number of
his
followers.
number of followers. He can be a, siphon, drawing in, kind of
Now-
sucking in.
Yeah, you can
Life.
do all that. Okay,
Uh-huh.
one more interesting concept that I think would work really well in this story.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a lot of magic be done through kind of a divine powers type thing, you could have him have gotten powerful enough in this process that he can actually grant magic to his followers.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a story where your main character, instead of starting off weak and becoming strong, starts off really strong and weakens as the story goes on.
He loses
actually
some of
sounds like
his
fun.
magic
Yeah.
because of his.
That's what I
because-
was just writing. The bond between what happens. They've sworn his
Mhm.
their loyalty to him, and I'm like, what happens if they break that?
Yeah.
You
I've,
just
I've
mentioned
only
that.
seen that done once before, so
No, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
I
because-
think that would be very interesting.
No,
Yeah, that
no,
would be
we've
nice.
actually done some. Well, I was gonna say adventurers. What happens to them when they break their bond? Oh gosh, that's.
well, yeah, but this is a
This
just
is
Well, if
different.
they break it, then they are just immediately
Killed,
killed.
yeah,
yeah,
but,
but
this is
this,
a.
inside.
this is very different. But
But
anyway,
this is a hero,
Right.
or this is our hero becoming weaker as he
as the story
draws closer
progresses,
to the light. So, how's he gonna overcome that?
what happens is at the beginning, most of the fights would be really easy. By the end, he would no longer be able to rely on brute strength. He'd have to rely on
magic,
friends.
things like that.
No, he can't rely on magic. That's what he's losing.
Yeah.
But he has to rely on
Yeah, so more
allies,
magic.
cleverness.
He is an assassin, so he's that's
He
what he
probably
was trained
still
at.
does have
So he
skills.
does have
He
skills.
still has skills.
Oh, yeah,
He
he
just
has
loses his
Mm-hmm.
magic. So he'd still be able to fight, but it wouldn't be
And he's-
I can just run up to you and kill you. It would have to
No.
be okay.
This is a very well planned, thought
Yeah.
out.
And he's still
Yeah.
really good at sneaking around, but he no longer has the illusion magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He no longer turn invisible, but that doesn't negate sneaking.
Nice.
Right.
If you need some magic for him, because it is kind of hard to defeat the final boss when you're at your weakest, but if
That's
you
what
Some
makes it
powerful
interesting.
friends.
And
That
there's
is
nothing
true.
to say that the girl doesn't have some magic.
I'm
I was
personally
gonna
a
say,
fan
if
of
we
her
had to,
being a
we could-
powerful swordsman for some reason.
There is also nothing to say that as he draws away from the other and connects, to her, that he can't draw some of her magic.
Or no, here's what you do.
Or some
You
moon
Have him
target.
get a new
you have
patron?
him, yeah, you have
Yeah,
him
I
get a
was
new
gonna
patron
say.
type thing, but not like until the very end, and so
Yeah.
not like close to the end. And don't have him like
It
nearly
wouldn't
as
be,
strong.
and it wouldn't be as strong. No, it would
No.
be
But
a
give-
very small gift.
give
But
him-
have the goddess of mercy or the god
Yeah,
of mercy
no,
give
we'll
him.
get the actual god of
God
justice.
of justice. Yeah.
He switches himself to the
Oh.
actual god of justice at the very end, and the actual god of justice is like, you haven't served me long enough to get that much power. I can't give you that much, but I can give you the ability to kill him.
Right.
That could be cool.
I can give you this ability,
This could be
but you
epic.
will have to use it wisely. Oh, this could be
Epic,
fun.
cute,
I'm
sweet.
sitting going,
lots of-
okay, I want to write
Lots
this.
You don't
Sweet
want her
emotional
to be
moments, lots
a
of-
I
cleric
mean-
of the goddess of love, though.
I
That would
mean,
be cool.
oh, that
Could
would
do
be
that.
fun. Surprisingly enough, I mean, this sounds fun to write.
I might
Doesn't
write
it
this.
sound
I could write this one.
There's some dark stuff.
this
there's
one's more
some
my
good
style.
stuff.
For sending us this idea. We're having a lot of
thank
fun
you,
with
Adam.
it. So,
Yeah, this sounds fun. I want to
Oh.
write it. You want to write it? Do you guys want to write it?
I have
yeah, if
trouble
I
with
can
writing
make the
if-
time
if
to
I-
do it, yeah,
would
I
like
want to.
love
I would
to.
No,
love
I
to
know
write
I've
this.
taken this year off, and I'm like, I've got to get back to
All right.
writing.
Well,
Well,
what would you like to see in this?
Yeah, do you want to write this one? Give us your ideas and give us lots of prompts for our hat. We are loving the contributions. We'll see you next
Yes.
time.